Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we're heading up high into the breathtaking world of mountains. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an adventure with us. Mountains are some of the most majestic natural wonders on Earth. They shape our landscapes, influence weather, and store life-giving water in the form of snow and glaciers. From the mighty Himalayas to the rugged Rockies, mountains are not just landforms. They're homes to unique plants, animals, and cultures. They've inspired myths, challenged explorers, and stood as symbols of strength and resilience for centuries. Whether you see them as nature's towers or spiritual places, mountains are truly awe-inspiring. Before we dive in, drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from and what time it is there. We love seeing how our mountain family is spread across the world. Alright, lace up your boots and take a deep breath of fresh mountain air. We're about to explore the towering giants of our planet, the mountains. The origin of mountains. Mountains are among the most awe-inspiring creations of nature, but their story begins deep beneath the Earth's surface. Our planet's outer shell, the crust, is divided into massive slabs called tectonic plates. These plates, though they move only a few centimeters each year, exert unimaginable pressure as they collide, separate, or slide past one another. Over millions of years, these relentless movements reshape the land, forcing rock upward to form towering peaks. What appears to us as unchanging and eternal is, in truth, the outcome of slow but powerful processes that never truly stop. Millions of years ago, the surface of the Earth looked very different. Continents were in different positions, oceans stretched across vast regions, and volcanic activity was far more intense. As tectonic plates drifted, some collided head-on, compressing and folding the crust like a piece of paper pressed from both sides. This folding created huge ridges and mountains, some of which still stand today. The Himalayas, for example, were formed when the Indian plate pushed northward into the Eurasian plate. This collision continues even today, causing the Himalayas to rise slowly but steadily each year. Not all mountains share the same origin. Some are born from volcanic eruptions, where molten rock, or magma, escapes from deep within the earth and builds layer upon layer on the surface until it forms a peak. Mount Fuji in Japan, Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, and the Hawaiian volcanoes are living reminders of this fiery process. Others, like fault block mountains, arise when the Earth's crust fractures and blocks of rock are pushed upwards or tilted, leaving dramatic cliffs and ridges. Each type of mountain has a different story, but all speak of the raw forces that shape the Earth. While mountains rise from these violent beginnings, nature also works to wear them down. Rain, wind, ice, and rivers slowly erode their surfaces, carving valleys, shaping ridges, and smoothing once sharp edges. Over millions of years, even the tallest mountains shrink, transforming into rolling hills or disappearing entirely. The Appalachian Mountains in North America, once as tall as the Himalayas, have been worn down to modest peaks through eons of erosion. This cycle of creation and destruction proves that mountains are not fixed monuments, but living landscapes. The evidence of these ancient processes can often be found in surprising places. Fossils of marine creatures discovered at the top of Mount Everest reveal that the region was once part of a seabed, long before tectonic forces lifted it skyward. Such discoveries remind us that Earth is constantly changing, reshaping itself in ways that are both slow and dramatic. Mountains hold within them records of ancient oceans, climates, and life forms that tell the deep history of our world. The origin of mountains is not just a tale of rocks and pressure, it is also a lesson about time and transformation. Their formation teaches us that even the most immovable structures we see around us are part of an ever-changing earth. They rise in strength, crumble with age, and are reborn through new geological activity. Each peak is a chapter in an endless book that the earth continues to write. As we begin our journey into the world of mountains, we carry this thought with us. Every summit, every cliff, and every valley is more than a landscape. It is a record of the planet's restless energy, an ancient monument to the power of time, and a reminder that the ground beneath our feet is never truly still. The types of mountains. Mountains are not all the same, and their differences tell us much about the Earth's restless nature. Scientists have studied their origins closely and grouped them into broad categories based on how they are formed. Fold mountains, fault block mountains, volcanic mountains, and residual mountains each carry distinct characteristics that reveal the forces behind their creation. This diversity in structure explains why mountain ranges across the world appear so different from one another, yet all share the same grandeur. Fold mountains are the most familiar and dramatic of all. They are created when two tectonic plates collide and compress the land between them. Rocks that would normally lie flat are forced into folds, bending and buckling under immense pressure. This process builds long chains of towering peaks, like the Himalayas in Asia, the Andes in South America, and the Alps in Europe. These mountains are young in geological terms, which is why their peaks remain jagged and sharp, cutting into the sky with breathtaking beauty. Fault block mountains, on the other hand, tell a story of cracking and breaking. When immense stress builds up in the crust, it can fracture into large blocks. Some blocks are lifted upward, while others sink downward, creating a rugged landscape of cliffs, ridges, and jagged valleys. The Sierra Nevada in North America is a striking example, with sheer faces and dramatic slopes that rise suddenly from the land. These mountains often appear less crumpled than fold mountains, but just as imposing in scale. Volcanic mountains are born from fire. Deep within the earth, molten rock pushes upward until it erupts through the surface. With each eruption, new layers of lava and ash accumulate, gradually building cone-shaped peaks. Some volcanoes grow so large they dominate entire regions, like Mauna Loa in Hawaii, the largest volcano on Earth. Volcanic mountains remind us of the raw, fiery energy still hidden within our planet, and how quickly the surface can be transformed. Residual mountains emerge through the slow work of erosion, rather than sudden upheaval. Over millions of years, softer rocks are worn away by wind, rain, and rivers, leaving behind only the hardest and most resistant formations. These isolated peaks or ridges, like those found in India's Deccan Plateau, are remnants of once great mountain ranges. Though smaller, they carry a quiet dignity as survivors of immense geological change. What makes mountains fascinating is that they rarely belong to only one category. A single range might combine elements of folding, faulting, and volcanic activity, layered with erosion over time. This blending of processes makes each mountain unique, a one-of-a-kind sculpture shaped by both violence and patience. Their diversity is as remarkable as their kind. Height. By understanding the different types of mountains, we gain insight into the history of our planet. They are more than just natural wonders. They are lessons in geology, reminders of the powerful forces that have shaped Earth's surface, and symbols of its continuing evolution. Each type of mountain adds a new voice to the grand story of the planet. The role of mountains in ecosystems. Mountains are not only geological marvels, but also vital ecosystems that sustain life in extraordinary ways. Rising from the lowlands to the sky, they create a variety of climates and habitats within a single range. This vertical diversity makes mountains some of the richest reservoirs of biodiversity on Earth, home to plants and animals found nowhere else. They are often referred to as water towers of the world and islands of life, showing just how important they are for survival. At lower altitudes, the slopes of mountains may be covered with dense tropical forests teeming with wildlife. As one climbs higher, the vegetation changes dramatically. Tropical plants give way to temperate forests, alpine meadows, and eventually, icy glaciers. Each zone has its own community of species uniquely adapted to the conditions. This layering of habitats along a single slope creates ecosystems as diverse as entire continents. Mountains also play a critical role in the Earth's water cycle. Snow and glaciers act as natural reservoirs, storing water during the cold months and releasing it gradually during warmer seasons. The rivers that flow from mountains provide drinking water, irrigation for crops, and energy through hydropower for millions of people in surrounding valleys and plains. Without mountains, many of the world's greatest civilizations could never have flourished. The wildlife that inhabits mountain ecosystems often includes rare and endangered species. In the Himalayas, elusive snow leopards prowl the rocky slopes, perfectly camouflaged against the terrain. In China's mountains, giant pandas feed on bamboo forests. In South America, the mighty Andean condor soars on thermal winds. Each of these creatures depends entirely on the fragile habitats that mountains provide, making their protection crucial to global biodiversity. Humans, too, have always depended on mountains for survival. Many medicinal plants grow only in high-altitude environments, while mountain soils produce essential crops like tea, coffee, and rice. For countless communities, mountains are not only sources of food and water, but also sacred landscapes that shape culture, traditions, and spirituality. They are both practical and spiritual lifelines. Yet these delicate ecosystems face increasing threats. Climate change is melting glaciers at alarming rates, endangering freshwater supplies for billions of people. Deforestation and mining are destroying habitats, while tourism and urban expansion add further strain. The loss of even a single mountain species can set off a chain reaction that disrupts the entire ecosystem. Protecting these environments is one of humanity's greatest responsibilities. Mountains remind us that life is interconnected. The snow on their peaks becomes rivers that feed farmlands. The plants on their slopes provide medicine and nourishment. The animals they shelter maintain ecological balance. By safeguarding mountains, we are not only preserving breathtaking landscapes, but also ensuring the survival of life itself. Mountains and human civilizations. Since the dawn of human history, mountains have been more than towering landscapes. They have been guardians, resources, and inspirations for civilizations. Early humans often sought refuge in mountain caves, finding safety from predators and a vantage point to watch over valleys below. Over time, mountains became not only shelters, but also the foundations of cultures, shaping human societies in ways that continue to this day. Mountains have often acted as natural barriers, protecting communities from invasions and shaping the development of nations. The rugged ranges of Greece fostered small, independent city-states rather than one united kingdom, while the towering Himalayas shielded the Indian subcontinent from northern invaders for centuries. These barriers influenced politics, trade, and the course of human history. At the same time, mountains have also been bridges, connecting cultures through high passes and trade routes. The ancient Silk Road wound its way through the Pamirs and Squad, Hindu Kush, carrying not only goods but also ideas, religions, and knowledge between East and West. These treacherous routes required courage and endurance, but they transformed mountains into crossroads of civilization. The resources of mountains have sustained humanity for millennia. From fertile soils that produce tea and rice on terraced slopes, to forests that provide timber, to rivers that nourish entire regions, mountains have offered abundance to those who learn how to live in harmony with them. Minerals and metals hidden deep within mountain rocks have fueled industries, economies, and technological progress. Mountains have also been revered as sacred spaces in human spirituality. Mount Olympus was home to the gods of ancient Greece. Mount Kailash is sacred to Hindus, Buddhists, and Jains, considered a center of cosmic power. For indigenous communities around the world, mountains are living beings, guardians of life and spirit. These beliefs reflect the profound connection between humanity and these majestic giants. Living in the mountains, however, has always required resilience. Thin air, cold climates, steep terrain, and isolation demand adaptation and ingenuity. Mountain communities have developed unique traditions, architecture, and ways of life that blend survival with culture. From the stone villages of the Andes to the monasteries of Tibet, these settlements reflect both the challenges and rewards of mountain living. Mountains stand as witnesses to human history. They have shielded, nurtured, challenged, and inspired civilizations across time. Even today, they remain places where humanity finds both resources for survival and inspiration for the soul. In their presence, we are reminded not only of our dependence on nature, but also of our enduring connection to it. The climate of mountains. Mountains create some of the most dramatic and varied climates on Earth. Their towering presence disrupts wind, air, and rainfall, giving rise to weather systems that shape entire regions. This unique relationship between altitude and atmosphere makes mountains both unpredictable and fascinating in their climate patterns. As one ascends a mountain, the air grows thinner and colder. The temperature typically drops by about 6.5 degrees Celsius for every 1,000 meters of elevation. This creates distinct climate zones, often within just a few kilometers. A single mountain slope can hold tropical forests at its base, temperate woodlands at mid-levels, alpine meadows above, and frozen glaciers at the summit. These layers of climate make mountains some of the most diverse environments in the world. Mountains also play a crucial role in precipitation. When moist air masses move across the land, they are forced upward by mountain slopes. As the air rises, it cools and releases moisture as rain or snow. This phenomenon, known as orographic rainfall, explains why one side of a mountain may be lush and green, while the other lies in a rain shadow, dry and barren. The Andes and Rockies provide striking examples of this dramatic contrast. Snowfall in mountains is not only a spectacular sight but also a vital resource. Snowpacks act as seasonal reservoirs, storing water during the winter and releasing it gradually during warmer months. Glaciers, formed over centuries, extend this process, serving as long-term water banks. Without mountain snow and ice, millions of people would face water shortages, especially in regions like South Asia and South America. Yet the climate of mountains can also be harsh and unforgiving. Blizzards, avalanches, landslides, and sudden storms can transform a tranquil slope into a deadly environment. Mountaineers often speak of 4 seasons in a single day when describing the weather on high peaks. This unpredictability makes mountains both challenging and dangerous for those who attempt to climb or settle in them. Climate change poses an even greater threat to mountain environments. Rising global temperatures are melting glaciers at alarming rates, destabilizing slopes, and disrupting weather patterns. Rivers that once flowed steadily are now drying earlier in the season, while some regions face flooding from glacial melt. These changes endanger both ecosystems and human societies that depend on mountain climates for stability. Despite these challenges, the climate of mountains remains a source of wonder. From gentle mist-covered slopes to snow-capped summits glowing in the sunrise, mountains remind us of nature's beauty and power. Their climates may be demanding, but they also sustain life, shape landscapes, and inspire awe in all who witness them. The wildlife of mountains. Mountains are home to some of the most extraordinary wildlife on the planet. Creatures that have adapted to extreme conditions of cold, thin air, and rugged terrain. The isolation of mountain habitats often leads to the evolution of species found nowhere else on Earth, making mountains hotspots of biodiversity and uniqueness. In the highest peaks of Asia, the elusive snow leopard prowls silently across rocky ridges, blending perfectly with its surroundings. With thick fur and powerful limbs, it thrives in a world where few large predators can survive. Equally iconic is the giant panda, nestled in the bamboo forests of China's mountains, a symbol of resilience and conservation efforts worldwide. Birds, too, have made the mountains their realm. The Andean condor, with its massive wingspan, soars effortlessly above valleys, riding thermal currents that rise from the slopes. In the Himalayas, the colorful Himalayan monal, a dazzling pheasant, brightens alpine meadows with its shimmering feathers. These birds embody the freedom and majesty of mountain life. The plant life of mountains is no less remarkable. Alpine meadows burst into color during short growing seasons, with hardy flowers carpeting the slopes. In lower altitudes, coniferous forests dominate, providing shelter for countless species. At the highest elevations, only lichens and mosses cling to rocks, surviving in near constant cold. Each plant tells a story of endurance and adaptation. Smaller animals also thrive in these ecosystems. Mountain goats and ibex scale near vertical cliffs with ease, their hooves designed for gripping the narrowest ledges. Marmots, pikas, and other rodents burrow into the ground to escape the cold, while insects adapted to thin air pollinate alpine plants. The variety of life, even in harsh conditions, shows the resilience of nature. Yet mountain wildlife is under constant pressure. Habitat loss from deforestation, mining, and tourism threatens many species, while climate change alters their delicate environments. As glaciers melt and tree lines shift upward, animals lose the spaces they depend on. The survival of iconic species like the snow leopard depends on urgent conservation efforts. Despite these threats, mountain wildlife continues to inspire wonder. Their resilience and beauty remind us of nature's ability to adapt, endure, and thrive in the harshest of environments. Protecting these creatures ensures that future generations will continue to marvel at the life that flourishes among the peaks. Mountains and water. Mountains are often called the water towers of the world, and for good reason. They are the source of most of the Earth's major rivers, which flow from glaciers and snowpacks high above sea level. These rivers bring life to valleys, plains, and entire civilizations, making mountains essential, not just for beauty but for survival. Glaciers, vast rivers of ice that move slowly down slopes, are among the most important water sources. They store fresh water in frozen form, releasing it gradually as they melt. This steady flow feeds rivers like the Ganges, Yangtze, and Amazon, upon which billions of people depend for drinking water, irrigation, and transportation. Without mountains, these lifelines would not exist. Snow, too, plays a vital role. In winter, snow accumulates on mountain peaks, forming thick layers that act as natural water storage. As temperatures rise, this snow melts and flows downward, replenishing rivers and streams. This seasonal cycle is crucial for agriculture, ensuring crops have the water they need during growing seasons. Mountains also regulate rainfall. Their slopes intercept moist air currents, causing clouds to release rain or snow. This process not only nourishes local ecosystems, but also determines the water availability of entire regions. Countries like Peru, India, and Nepal depend heavily on the water cycle sustained by mountains. Hydropower, one of the world's most significant renewable energy sources, is also tied directly to mountains. Rivers flowing from high elevations generate enormous potential energy as they descend, powering turbines that provide electricity to millions of people. Without mountain rivers, many nations would struggle to meet their energy needs sustainably. However, this vital role of mountains in the water cycle is under threat. Climate change is melting glaciers faster than ever, disrupting the balance of water flow. Rivers that once provided steady supplies are drying up too soon, leaving shortages later in the year. For communities and wildlife, this shift poses a serious risk to survival. Mountains, in their role as water towers, are reminders of the delicate balance of nature. They give life not only to those who dwell upon their slopes, but also to billions far away who depend on their rivers. To safeguard mountains is to safeguard water, the most essential resource for life itself. Mountains and culture. Mountains and culture. Mountains are not only natural formations, but also cultural landmarks that shape the identity of societies around the world. From ancient myths to modern traditions, they have inspired stories, rituals, and ways of life. Many communities see mountains as sacred, powerful, and even alive, guardians of the land and people. These beliefs and practices show the deep spiritual bond between humanity and high places. In Greece, Mount Olympus was believed to be the home of the gods, a seat of power where divine beings watched over human affairs. In Japan, Mount Fuji stands as a sacred symbol of purity and endurance, attracting pilgrims and artists for centuries. Similarly, Mount Sinai in the Middle East holds immense religious significance, believed to be the site where Moses received the Ten Commandments. These examples reveal how mountains often transcend geography to become central to cultural identity. For indigenous peoples across the world, mountains are living entities, protectors, and ancestors. The Inca of South America regarded the Andes as sacred beings, and offerings were made to appease the spirits of the peaks. In the Himalayas, certain mountains are so holy that climbers are forbidden from setting foot on their summits. These traditions reflect profound respect, a reminder that mountains are not merely landscapes, but sacred spaces deserving reverence. Mountains have also shaped art, music, and literature. Painters capture the shifting light on jagged peaks, poets describe their mystery and grandeur, and musicians draw inspiration from the echoes and rhythms of mountain life. The Romantic movement in Europe celebrated mountains as places of sublime beauty and raw power, inspiring awe and humility in equal measure. The way of life in mountain communities is equally rich in culture. Festivals, dances, and songs often celebrate the cycles of nature, harvests, and the changing seasons. Traditional clothing reflects both beauty and practicality, designed to protect against the cold while carrying patterns of heritage. Food and cuisine are adapted to high altitudes, using local crops such as barley, potatoes, and herbs that thrive in thin air. Cultural diversity flourishes in the mountains, as isolation allows unique languages and traditions to survive for centuries. In the Himalayas alone, dozens of languages and ethnic groups coexist, each with distinct practices and beliefs. These cultures offer the world wisdom about resilience, sustainability, and harmony with nature. Mountains thus stand as cultural pillars as much as natural ones. They inspire reverence, creativity, and tradition, shaping human identity across generations. To climb a mountain is not only a physical journey but also a cultural and spiritual one, carrying with it the weight of countless stories, myths, and beliefs that continue to resonate today. Mountains and adventure. For centuries, mountains have drawn explorers, adventurers, and dreamers. Their sheer height and mystery challenge the human spirit, inviting us to push beyond limits and discover what lies above the clouds. From ancient pilgrims climbing sacred peaks to modern mountaineers scaling Everest, the call of the mountains has always been irresistible. Climbing mountains is more than a test of physical strength. It is a test of endurance, willpower, and courage. Thin air, freezing temperatures, and treacherous terrain make every ascent a battle against both nature and one's own limitations. The stories of mountaineers braving avalanches, storms, and exhaustion are not just tales of survival but symbols of humanity's determination to reach new heights. The world's tallest peaks have become legendary challenges. Mount Everest, at 8,848 meters, has become the ultimate goal for climbers, representing the pinnacle of adventure. Yet, other peaks such as K2, Annapurna, and the Matterhorn are equally notorious, their slopes demanding skill, patience, and respect. Each mountain carries its own dangers and triumphs, teaching lessons of humility to those who dare to climb. Beyond climbing, mountains also offer countless other adventures. Skiing down snowy slopes, trekking across alpine trails, paragliding above valleys, and rafting in mountain rivers are experiences that thrill seekers cherish. These activities not only provide excitement, but also connect people deeply with the landscapes, reminding them of nature's grandeur. Adventures in the mountains are not always about extremes. For many, hiking in the quiet of a forest, camping under star-filled skies, or simply breathing fresh mountain air is an adventure of peace and discovery. The sense of freedom and tranquility found in mountains draws millions each year, offering a retreat from the noise of modern life. However, mountain adventure comes with responsibility. Fragile ecosystems can be damaged by careless tourism, and climbers often leave waste on peaks that are difficult to clean. Balancing the thrill of adventure with respect for nature is essential. Sustainable tourism practices, guided treks, and conservation awareness help protect mountains for future explorers. The allure of adventure in mountains lies in both challenge and serenity. They invite us to confront our fears, to find joy in the journey, and to experience nature in its rawest form. For every adventurer, a mountain is not only a place to conquer, but also a place to understand themselves and their place in the vastness of the world. The future of mountains. Mountains have stood for millions of years, but their future is increasingly uncertain. The forces of climate change, deforestation, mining, and uncontrolled tourism are reshaping these delicate ecosystems. As glaciers retreat, species decline, and communities struggle with dwindling resources, the survival of mountains as we know them hangs in the balance. The most visible threat, is the melting of glaciers. Rising global temperatures are shrinking ice sheets at alarming rates, destabilizing water supplies for billions of people. Once reliable rivers now flow unpredictably, endangering agriculture, hydropower, and drinking water. In places like the Himalayas and Andes, the disappearance of glaciers threatens both nature and human survival. Deforestation and mining add to these challenges. Forests on mountain slopes are cleared for timber, agriculture, or development, destroying habitats and weakening soil stability. Mining, while valuable for resources, scars the land and pollutes rivers, leaving long-lasting damage. These human activities disrupt the very systems that mountains provide for free, clean air, fresh water, and biodiversity. Tourism, too, is a double-edged sword. While it brings income to mountain communities, unregulated tourism can leave behind waste, pollution, and erosion. Popular peaks face challenges that threaten their very existence, from melting glaciers to disappearing forests. Protecting mountains means protecting our future. It means preserving clean water, safeguarding biodiversity, and ensuring the balance of our planet's climate. It means respecting these timeless giants, not only as landscapes, but as lifelines that sustain us all. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the peaks and valleys of our planet. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more explorations of nature's wonders. Together, we can keep the spirit of the mountains alive, strong, endearing, and eternal.